Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, one nation, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, we have busy attendance. Couple of opening remarks. Town. I can't hear. Town continues to seek out staff for the summer program. So last year, into the program, insufficient staff numbers and qualifications. And after we did that, everyone said, we know, we could have, so could have done that. So the town now knows, it's been on social media, it's been shared among individuals, it's been in a high school announcement. We did have some excellent interviews last week. So we're gonna need about three more fired up young adults to make this program 16 years and over. We do have some county deadlines that we have to meet. So we have to know what we have for staff by April 24th. If we haven't met that goal that date, we'll be forced to close the summer program yet again. COVID has not been kind ever since we've come back from COVID. It's just impossible to get working or anything. So if we do cancel the summer program, we will have a replacement program similar to what we did last year. The rec supervisor has a plan. It'll be similar and possibly even more days. But let's focus on just getting enough people qualified and applying so that we can just shoot right into some of the program. Not worry about it. The other announcement I have is that effective today, the no parking sign on the left side of Champlain Avenue from Algonquin Street to Father Grove's place, on no parking zone. The law was passed, local law was passed on that last month. Anticipate the local police department will issue warnings for the rest of this month and then start effective ticketing enforcement beginning in May. That is all I have for opening remarks, and we have presentations tonight. We have two public hearings this evening. The first is on local law to move grievance day. I'll open that public hearing now. Just a few comments on that. We do have a new assessor now. She does assessments for more than just Ticonderoga, so we have proposed for local law to move grievance day in one additional day, and so that Tuesday would go to that Wednesday. That would make grievance day this year May 24th. And so if there's any questions or comments from the public that are here on grievance day, we can address those now. Yeah, you can. You just got to 100%.
I mean, they can add it.
There's a process. Yeah. If you're not happy with your answer,
VA are going to be everyone because there are very, very limited. We can only get 1 in 20 years. There are instances where if there's an error on the assessment roll, the assessor can take it to the Board of Assessment in August, September, October. VA the change.
That's why I asked if that would be Italy and
But yeah, it has to be met.
Yeah.
Because of the
so any questions on that? The board have any questions on that? We'll close the public hearing on that one. Have a resolution later on. We'll put that in effect. The other public hearing this evening is on the voluntary ambulance firefighter property tax exemption. We're not going to, we do have it in local law, but it needs some more additional information. We're going to make a decision on it tonight. We will open the public hearing on that. A little information, this was a proposed property tax exemption up to 10% for enrolled members that have been enrolled for at least 2 to 5 years in the local volunteer ambulance or fire service. This was something the state put into effect in last December. It's impossible for most municipalities to meet by that March 1st deadline of this year. If we enact this law, it will become effective in March 1st of 2024. The only thing the state did not tell anybody was what enrolled means, so I have reached out to Thai EMS, Thai Fire, Chilson Fire, asking for what they consider enrolled or active members are. Things possibly like how many training sessions they attended a year, if they completed their sexual harassment or other types of training. I did get some feedback so far from Thai Fire. Really not a whole lot of requirements. The town can, of course, put any requirements it wants into the local law. I just wanted to start out with those local entities providing us the information that they use to define who's active and who's not. Interesting enough, when I was on Thai Fire's response calls, there was if we had an additional requirement in like have to respond to percent of the calls, there would be like 33% of their active force would not meet that. If you would, like, if you said that you have to have at least 5% of your staff meet that, it would be 21% would be it. So it's just an example of the kinds of things we can put in the local law. The whole idea is to spur enrollment and volunteerism in ambulance and fire services, but for some, if they're not doing anything now, allowing them to have the tax exemption is kind of, they're not doing anything now, so.
Of course, some of it might prompt them if they have a tax. Actually, it's not showing up.
That, yeah, I mean, then, that could induce someone to become active. The one thing I would like to discuss tonight, and of course the public can have a question at any point, when I give this little introduction, jump in. The one thing I would like us to decide tonight is we can do up to 10%. Like, first, let's come to a conclusion on what that's going to be, 10%. The other thing is the law says you have to be enrolled anywhere from 2 to 5 years in that department. Most of the people, other than junior fire members and recently acquired members of the EMS, would already need that. So
that's 10% of what?
of the property tax.
That's property tax. The assessed value or the tax?
That's it.
The assessment. Okay, so if you're assessed for $100,000, you get 10% off. When your property is now assessed for 90, taxes are according.
Yeah, there are eligibility requirements if you have to live in the district which you support. And there's other, I have this for packages, there's other reasons like for survivor benefits, if you have a spouse who pass away, but the spouse can still get that tax exemption. So those we can decide on later, but tonight, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, 10% is fine, and 2 years is fine, but
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't sound like it's a tremendous amount of money. I mean, how many people are you talking about total at this point? 100?
Yeah, and one thing I've been talking to our staff, once we get the information on who this is, who's eligible, she can run the numbers and tell us if they all took it. Look at what that impact would be. And if you have to be pretty expensive home for this to really start adding up.
Right.
And some don't. Yeah. So we agreed that 10% in 2 years is good.
Works for me. Supports that.
Do they still have that $5 thing for the month? Bylaws. If you're the week, you're 5.
Since we have paid staff,
Right.
even with volunteers,
It used to be 5, you had mandatory 5 hours.
a couple of years back, when it was it was 16 hours a month. It used to be, but since we got paid staff, we have enough people to cover it.
Okay.
We'll take whatever we can get
Okay. Okay.
for volunteers,
Right.
yeah.
Does anyone in the public have a comment or question about the taxes and law? We'll keep this public hearing open because we still have some other information to decide upon as we go forward. At some point in the next few months, we'll pick the point where we move to accept the law and put it into place. But all right. Okay, next we'll get into committee reports, and first up is airport.
Fuel sales for March, 981 gallons. Right now, we're looking at more than another, we haven't put another one, so. Airplane today, so no problems there, so we still have a lot of people coming in, so we can continue to that until we have to close the airport.
And I don't know if you saw it or not, but I'll just
Yeah.
action Ryan or
Yeah, I saw it, so hopefully we get this time or later. John's out of 17th. But the nighttime, GPS nighttime landing restriction, we're still trying to get that cleared out yet. It's, trying to figure out what we're either talking about, that get it down. Tower update, the historic tower, we want to put up, hopefully get it up in May, that's when we're going to shut down in, and cut trees and bring crane down, put it in place for us, so. I believe we finally, looks like we're gonna get the roof we need by the time.
So yeah, I'm supposed to see this week with Mr. Turtle and again, you see.
That would be great. Hangar discussion, there's still no change in direction in that yet. The pre-construction meeting date has not been set, but we're looking at that work will be done in front of the hangars. Here, one of the questions was the whole limits. How it progresses in the construction document is if pavement, get it all done, and then they will drill. Put holes. But so that okay. So we have a plan forward to that, so the real pressure. That. So we are.
You get the same about the other.
One less.
That's what it's like. So.
Make a problem. Take her back to you.
Yeah, that's okay. So.
Any else?
Oh, okay, we go.
Since grounds, parks, rec, whoever wants to go first. You get that meeting thing.
Yeah. Did everybody get to see that, the bids?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. When I first, we go, I'll tell you, I think we discussed it. Timing I opened it, we saw that big discrepancy in the path and that, and the red flag. So I went up and saw David, and his reason, he's an owner operator, and he works alone. He doesn't have to pay railing wage. And he also put on the bottom, he did the tank and the supply line, that he would not put that in. But none of the others are gonna either, because it's already, it has to be a town-owned tank and line, and it's already there, on South Allen, tank and line is there. So,
What kind of tank, Dave? I'm sorry.
propane,
Oh, propane tank, okay. It's owned by the town?
right, because David said you didn't include that, and he goes, no, you can't, it has to be with the town. So, South Allen, you don't need it, you got it, so. Yeah. It's already there, so we looked, one of the lines had to be replaced, but that's.
Are those the kind of things that would add up to that difference?
Yeah. Say 4 or 5 times maybe, yeah. What'd you think?
Yeah, I mean, even the heated tank, I can tell you that 1,000-gallon tank right now, it's about $6,000 to buy it and associated part. It's not,
But I mean, even if you do that, if you take up to 6, 7, he's, just based on that, I mean, since I've been doing building repair and building for the past 6 years, he's done probably 75 to 80% of it, and he's done, and you call him, when he's ready.
like Damon or
Yeah, they,
Damon.
Stallo, we call him. Well, he did down here last week, I think so. And he's definitely capable.
It's the same equipment that he spec'd out? I mean, everything's the same and all that?
So who was responsible? Something different.
Well, it's gonna take a lot of money to do where it's wrong, but we don't care. You know,
As long as you're not waiting for it in January.
it depends on the other ones, I mean, I've been into this. I mean, you got competent chairs and everything else, which he doesn't have it yet.
Raise any red flags here?
I mean, if the specs are all the same and he's carrying whatever insurance we require.
Well, Tanya said, he's got a couple get insurance from him, but I promised him I'd take care of that.
We already paid.
And, oh, I don't
I mean, whatever he's got to carry for liability insurance.
I mean, absolutely, I mean, I can't.
I mean, most of this stuff, I guess, is coming out of FW Web anyways, right? I mean, isn't that where everybody's getting their stuff from these days? So the cost of the material, pretty standard, the rest of it is labor. So my only question is, and I don't know how this works, but with all the other stuff that came up with on a list that needs to be done, can all that other stuff be done without affecting the heating unit once they're in? Well, I mean, we had stuff in the, to redo the rest of the building that needs to be done, the siding and all that kind of stuff.
I encumbered me to redo the concrete.
Yep.
So that's money that's spent. And then the next thing is the heating. We gotta get that up. Over the doors, and the doors hit the old furnace. The old furnace is right by the door. So that's the second step. Third step, put the doors in, do all the steel work, and then make it energy efficient. And then the last thing we're gonna do is cut the outside to make it pretty.
So none of that work impact the heating system.
Yeah.
Don't want to put a dance and then take it down and go get something else. Sure, the government would get first.
So,
In
the condition that we get his insurance.
So moved.
Did you second it? Joyce? Okay, any other discussion on that? All in favor?
He said he made
Or did she? I thought he made.
I thought
She said she won't. It's my fault.
Neither did I. So Dave for the May second. It's a good one.
Favor?
What you get on? This, the Army Republican got a new stove in town who spearheaded it, but they got the breakers on. The gas stove, they smell gas up there. They call it, how many times, and I go up, and I go up, when 4 o'clock in the morning. And, there's, everyone I say that nothing, it never went on, anything. Do you ever smell it anyway?
Oh, yes.
So anyway, they took that, it's gone.
It was propane stove, cook stove?
Sit down, she's over the tank.
It wasn't self-igniting, the pilot line always remains 2. Flames.
It's exciting.
That's all. You go to restore.
First thing is the skating rink, and lots to think about skating today, but I have to say it's been very popular with hockey players and family groups. However, there were some glitches after a heavy snowfall. Personally experienced how difficult it is to get around down there. And now that it's warmer, the place is sort of so there's some issues that need to be taken care of there. And the committee discussed using the millings to take care of these issues, and hopefully that will happen. And we've asked Ash Alexander, the rink attendant, to attend our meeting next week to talk about rink matters, future plans, and determine what actions are needed to make the rink ready for the summer season. And we also talked a little bit about what could the rink be used for in the summertime, and some potential uses. Black Point Beach, a lot of discussion about improving that, and the lifeguards are in poor condition. And a local scout is considering doing an Eagle Scout project to design and build their chairs. And Joyce will contact the mother who was in my minutes. I'll tell you, I did contact her, and is no longer a scout. So that's not going to happen. And I understand the grant is also working on the chairs. The signage, the beach signage is outdated and new signs should be made. And these new signs will be placed on one of the lifeguard chairs as well as close to the parking lot so that when people come into the beach, they'll see them before they even get it. We also want to make sure there's a binder available with more detailed procedures as to what's okay and what's not okay at the beach. And that would be available for the guards and beach visitors should there be an issue. Shrubs in front of the building should be removed and replaced with something that's lower and more compact. Right now, visibility at the front of the building is questionable. I think it's a safety issue. We also need ramps there, and I think they've taken care of that. So we need a ramp. We need 2 ramps for the beach building, and we need at least 1 for the pavilion, because at this point, they're not handicapped accessible. And Nicole Green, who is the Pride Executive Director, large amount of money to redo the playground beach. I believe that she will be successful. That money would be used to design and buy the material, the equipment for the beach. We have a very organized supervisor sitting here next to me, and he's been working with us to make sure that there's policies in place so if there's an issue, we have something to which way we should be going with things. And he has encouraged our committee to come up with some policies and procedures for all of the park areas. There's a lot of them here in town, not just Bicentennial in the park. The committee has already completed work on Bicentennial Park and Veterans Park. And we need to move on to Rec Park, Recreation Park, which is where the ball fields are, the beach. And also, we have some other parks. We have Crane Park, which is down by the sewage treatment plant. We have Artillery Park, which is up by the old central school where the emergency building is. And we also have Legacy Park, which is a separate park with Rec Park. It's developed in the Champlain celebration years ago. And we also have the walking trails. These policies will be available at the time. Mark has already moved on to take a look at it this week. Farmers Market, good news. They want to hold the Farmers Market again, and they want to hold it downtown. The committee was very positive about having it downtown. Recreation Park, there's some issues up there. There's some stuff going on. I guess only Parks and Rec really knows what's going on in terms of the field. They're realigning the field. It's too big for the teams that use it, baseball and softball. So what they're doing is moving the fence line up, and behind it, we can now have a T-ball field also. And we've asked them to come to the next meeting next week to let us know what the progress is on that. I've also discovered insurance report, although personally myself, are bleachers that are at all 3 fields. So I'm not sure about the Little League field, but I know the ones at field 2 and field 3 do not meet today's safety standards, there's no handrails. So my goal is this year to replace one or two of them, field 2 and 3, and get something there that's safe for everybody that's going to our parks.
Add handrails, you have to replace the
They're-
whole thing.
I think they were gifted to us by, who do you know that time?
Sorry, I didn't hear. I was reading ahead in your minutes.
The bleachers, weren't they gifted to us by the school possibly?
Some of them did. School. Yeah, yes, we get hand me downs. Yeah. But I believe the ones that are out there originally. First.
I think they looked at us. But the other side, they have wood there, right, and replace the boards. They're a little rickety, for sure. Fireworks. We've had 3 fireworks this year in our parks. They shoot them off on rec fields and visible over Bicentennial Park and it sticks down. We do have a wonderful local law that details fireworks, the rules and procedures. But one thing that we felt needed to be spelled out also is the safety fencing that's been put up, especially before the 4th of July. Because we had an accident a couple of years ago where there was a misfire and some injuries. So now, it's mostly on Burgoyne Road where, am I correct, Tom, it's on the Burgoyne Road? And
No, there are a few roads that got closed down where we have a list. But it depends on the diameter of the shell casings, the fireworks that gets off, as to how many feet the fence has to be pushed out to. It's very detailed in the local law, and we usually just put it at the max distance, because they have all of them.
but 4th of July.
All of Burgoyne is supposed to be closed down, Tower Avenue is supposed to be closed down. It's a pretty big deal.
Well, the question was who, sometimes it was last minute getting the fence up, so it was determined, the committee decided that it falls into the lap of the highway department, so hopefully that they will be the ones who will be at point on that one. We've had some graffiti on some of the signage around town, I don't think it's one kind, it's lots of it. And what surprised me is I thought they vandalized them on the back, but they did it on the face of the sign, which is really terrible. And especially if some of them are historic signs that are around town and they can't be cleaned. So we've asked for a list of, Grant to be able to come up with a list of, for us, of signs that have been vandalized. And he is willing to remove them immediately as long as there's a replacement for them.
I think he has.
Can I say something? I haven't had a chance to talk about that. And
Question last year or something, but, and I don't remember the answer to the question, but do we have a map that indicates where all our historical markers are?
that's, we asked for a detail.
It would be nice to have a listing, like for a walking map, you know, for tourists to come in to say, you know, there's this and just a brief, you know, Lord Howe or.
Lee builds the information, it's in handwritten books. I was actually talking to him yesterday about that. Because he has something that he wants from me, and so I told him that he gives me better.
But then, for that.
Oh, don't tell me you get the information. You said you got me to not do it. You said one day to read it, and he had all the information. Like,
Yeah, but it's
yeah,
not.
yeah.
It would be nice to have it and digitize and then be able to take and place those things on a map. And this is where the historical mark, so even at some point in time, to create like a walking tour of those or something like that around town, and then please to have an idea of where they all are.
Why would you be trained on your GIS system, having somebody on your GIS?
He's got it. He just needs to do it.
Well, we haven't spoken to the GI.
I mean, it's really new for you too, if you could actually create some staff, you could walk around your phone. But they, yeah. You can get on the website.
There's probably 50 or 60 years of report.
Yeah.
even keeping them clean has been an issue, which we were talking about, some of the debate, but that's another story. So, I think the last thing is, we talked about, there's milling sitting in the pile someplace, I think, still some left, okay. What people on the committee have noticed that there's a lot of potholes that exist on the access to some of our town properties, and I'm not talking about regular roads, I'm talking about access roads. Especially behind the old Rite Aid building, I think at this point, you can almost lose a car in there.
I think he did that area already.
Did he?
I think so.
Okay. The beach parking lot is always an issue every spring. Field 3 parking lot, oh my. The ice rink and the road between the fields 2 and 3. All of a sudden the blacktop stops, and then the potholes start. So we're hoping that the highway department takes some of those millings and straighten that out, especially scraping them and grading them before they fill them in. Field 3 gets heavy use, gets a lot of use now, and it'd be nice if it was a little more level, and the beach too, in particular. So that's the end of it. We meet next Tuesday at 8:30.
So back to the ice rink, I noticed just being down there every day that when the wind comes up, that pad that the liner that they have in there blows up pretty good.
We're gonna end up talking about the pieces, because you have to replace it every year, it ends up one season.
Was that right?
Yeah. So what he wants to do is clean it up, and if somebody wants to do a certain size of a pile, or somebody clean it up and leave the section.
I didn't realize it couldn't be used. I thought it rolled up.
I didn't do it.
Did we use the last one 3 times until we use it? Yes, we absolutely did.
He told me the other day. Because I said, we want some help getting the liner. He says, that's it's actually hard to pay. You gotta have
We put out the grant, we used it for years till it finally couldn't be used anymore.
And I have no idea what they next.
Maybe that's a question.
You know, I just noticed it was building up in the air, and it's gonna get a hole in it.
It's still passing
To the right, yeah, around the middle of it.
over.
But I was just worried, this is getting damaged. And we gotta get damaged, that's all, but,
You know, maybe this is a unique area. Maybe he's already 3 years old. You know, so maybe they might use.
Yeah, because the first one we have to use the person to lift it, because it's really heavy.
Well,
You know.
That's all we can do. Get down. But he said, we ain't gonna be enough of this coverage.
Maybe it's after the image.
Okay, I've got some resolutions in this.
Yes, we do. A resolution to offer part-time employment with no benefits now as a library aide for the Block Memorial Library at the hourly rate of $14.20.
Second. Question? All in favor? Aye. Motion carried.
Resolution to offer part-time employment with no benefits to Xavier Frazier as an activities attendant at the rate of $14.20 an hour. This is for the after-school program.
I'll move that. All set. Okay. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Carried.
Resolution to offer part-time employment with no benefits to Richard Bissett as groundskeeper and at the rate of $16.07 an hour. He's a returning person.
second.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Carried.
And a resolution authorizing the creation of a purchase order to Falls Farm and Garden Equipment. They have a state contract apparently, for the purchase of a John Deere X730 with a 48-inch mower deck in the amount of, $11,682.36. This is for the buildings and grounds crew funded by capital reserves. Thank you for that.
Second.
Any discussion?
I,
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I'm opposed, very jumping.
I think it's time.
Question, so the grant for the trail extension on the upper fall, where does that stand? Is that on the building ground?
So I need to, I'm going to say.
Okay.
Why does the contract have to be say?
It's a state grant, matching, I mean, it's,
But the county is.
yeah, it's under the.
Oh.
So, yes.
You know
Okay,
how much that is worth?
the grant, the total amount came up, it's projected, we have some matching part of it. We did some of the matching for in-kind services, play on the gravity shovel.
Great.
Okay, economic development, mini met on the 15th, March 15th. And just some couple of things that we discussed was that day that Bruce posed. We did discuss the comprehensive plan status, the upcoming job fair, and some other updates. I did speak to New York State today about DRI, got a little update on that, and so that information, you guys just literally a couple hours ago. I do have one resolution, that is to issue a request for quote to obtain informal cost estimates from prospective bidders for an update to the town of Ticonderoga comprehensive plan. And I'm going to use this information to hopefully enable us to get some funding assistance through this county community resources. So I will do that.
I'll second it.
Okay, all in favor? I will move to highway transfer.
okay, we've been on 28. Tom coming in, come in and requested, he wanted some information on how we planned on, entering the entrance to his, parking lot, his new parking lot. And also he has concerns about the sidewalk we built in the property. And he got a set of plans and we gave them to Sal and I think it's, like we said, they blacktop. You know, I talked to Sal after that. We said 30 feet, he said.
Yeah, actually, I think it's changing slightly. I think they decided to narrow it to 24.
Oh,
Add a little bit of green space between the sidewalk and the.
I took him down and showed him.
Yeah. I think 24 is the minimum apparently footage that you can have to pull a car in and out of a parking spot with the deal down the middle. So I think it's going to get narrowed to 24. So just pull the edge bit from Fraser Road back a little bit so you could have some green
Who
space.
makes that decision?
On the 24?
24.
That's the engineering firm that we're using, the civil engineering site folks. We can be up to 30 or more, but I mean, at 24 apparently is the minimum. Yep, to get in and out. Yep. So I'm told.
Crash. Okay, well anyways, he's gonna, whenever you get ready, it's a big.
Okay.
Oh, I guess it was. And Mitch brought up, they had several trucks down there and Plattsburgh broke down. And at that point, he was expecting another storm, he was trying to get him back, to get the plows back on. And the sidewalk plow is down, we just put $5,000 in the tracks. And now the steering is bad, and we were waiting for the vendor to come to give us a price on how to fix it, and if to fix it, and so on.
How old are you going to do that, Dave? Do you know?
He said, 11, 12 years, I think.
We need to be thinking about a new one.
Well, I don't know, we just put that $5,000 in the tracks.
Well, I'm just saying, it's getting, you know, no?
No matter what, I mean, we just put $5,000.
Okay.
And Mark brought up the St. Clair and Grove Street manhole isn't draining. Mitch said he would go up and check it after the meeting, and if it was still bothered, he would get the truck up and suck down the clean up. And Sal's on, need to have Sal fill out the agreement to expand the highway funds.
That's been,
And we need the three-way stop sign in McCormick in the north part of Champlain Avenue behind the bank. Basically for the, because of some problems there. And, and a busy day. So that's, they've got this. And he brought up that, there seems to be a drainage problem top of Lord Howe, lots of ice buildup when they have pretty heavy rain. The dirt driveway runs across the road. Mitch said it's a known issue and it's always been there and it probably always will be. Unless we blast it, put a ditch in it. We adjourned at 9:58. All I got.
That has to be a one.
it was.
Oh, we are. Resolution authorizing the FCC licensing filing fee renewal, WPXK 762, in the amount of $385 license is in effect for 10 years. I'll move it.
Second. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed, carried. Anything else? That's it?
No.
Okay, municipality?
So just a real quick background on a couple of things. So we have a company called Upstate Professional Management who is interested in purchasing the Hudson Headwaters building and leasing the bottom portion of it to the town for a police department. The person that's been talking on behalf of Upstate Professional Management, fellow by the name of Timothy Holiday, gave a presentation. He handed the committee a list of equipment and specifications that they're proposing to include in the renovations scope of work. So they would renovate the building, and they have a floor plan to do so. And so we're looking at continuing on with that to some extent. He also said that if there was additions at this point, he's offering change orders, so to speak, that he would offer change orders and do those for $125 an hour and the 25% markup on materials. That's the proposal that's out there now for anything in addition to be want done to that's not in their present scope. Mike Longer asked about the present status of where we are in the design of the building. This basically is nothing that the town has done at this point in regard to that, other than the walkthrough with the police chief and Upstate Professional Management Services has done their own draft floor plan and submitted it for some review. So the committee has got to review some of these items and list. We have asked AES, which they've come back with, for a couple of things, which the board needs to have discussion and decide on how they want to move forward here. But there are two proposals in from AES. One is to provide a list, if you will, of items that we would want from the town to include in their build out, or items that we would know if we funded it ourselves, what those items would be, so we would know what a all-inclusive list of those items would be and the expense of those items, whether Upstate Professional included it in their scope of work, build to suit, or we had to do it ourselves. I believe that proposal was for just over $3,000, if I'm not mistaken. I believe it was for 3,000. I think I can find it. Here it is. So for the renovation of the police station, or for the Netwater building for a police station, that proposal is, is the right one? For the Netwater building for a new police station. You come up with their proposals, I'm sorry, this is, they've got this.
79.
But what I'm looking at now is the one for the police station, but it says Hudson Water, I think he's got the heading the same. No, it's just never mind, this is the old one I had to provide as a computer. Excuse me. Okay, so for them to review the schematic design and cost estimating, for them to do that for the R portion, or the portion that we would want upstate management service to do, would be $7,900. I sent this proposal, I think it got sent out to the rest of the board members today. So you can review it, project scope, what they're looking for, description of the services is in here, which they're talking about some of the stuff that they would look at. They're scheduled to get this completed and back to us in 4 to 6 weeks, once, if we approve this to move forward. And that's for them to give us the information that we think we need in order to get good, solid pricing, and what the additional cost would be if we decide to move forward with this lease. Their other proposal was that should we decide to move forward for the to come up with a cost estimate for a new police station, and for them to do the initial AES, schematic design services, cost estimating services, and a structural design services, which would allow us to be able to come up with an accurate cost to build. At that point, we should be able to get a construction management firm in and or AES to give us an accurate cost to build that building, and that would be a fee of $25,800. So I think where we stand is a decision the town board needs to make is, do we want to go down both paths in regards to trying to create this evaluation? Do we want to shelve one and move forward with the other? Move forward with both to perform this evaluation? I think that there's been some discussions on both directions to go in. I think there's a lot of issues that need to be addressed here, and I think we need to have a pretty frank and open conversation about how we want to proceed to be able to make a full evaluation of this. There's numbers floating out there, obviously, from upstate management on their extrapolation on the cost to build new, which is not somebody that's doing it on our behalf. I think we need, if we're going to move forward with that, it needs to be somebody that's working behalf of the town and come up with an accurate cost analysis to do that. We can't really determine how we would fund it and how we would get the money to build a new one unless we really know what the accurate cost is and what we can do with that. And I think we do need to get input from our side on the recommendations that we want to have in the renovation of the Hudson Headquarters building, if that's the direction we go in, on some recommendations that are out there for the new police station. So that's kind of where we are. So we really need to decide if we want to get AES to move forward with both of these proposals, one of them, or if we want to take some additional time to review it and think about it. So,
Tom, I tell you, probably know I'm in favor of either one. I mean, nothing against AES or anything, putting money into it. I think we should put it on their plate. AES said themselves, all they have to do is comply with 2020 New York State building. So if we told them that, they have their own engineering firm, they can do everything, he said he would do that. They could do everything that AES just stated here. And have them come back with stamped drawings, we take it up to Dave Burrows, have him go over it, and if it meets the building code, or if he can't do it, he can send it to Albany and have it done. I can't see putting, you know, $3,000 into something that we could, and then if it comes back, and we still have, then let AES. But I can't see putting, nothing, you know, paying them to do something that this guy should be doing. And he has engineering and he can bring it back to us and then we can review it. And let Matt take care of the lease.
I think that the piece that gets lost in that is it's not just bringing a commercial building up to code, which obviously has to happen, but there is additional recommendations for a police station that have nothing to do with whether the building meets code. And those are the things that we need to include on whatever those are.
But I'm sure if he has an engineer, they can do the same as AES is doing. We have Virginia's plan. We have a plan that Adams gave. We have this. You know, and I'm sure if we stipulated, like, say, the sheet metal, bulletproof glass, whatever, give us a complete list of what they feel, and then we could have AES.
And he's saying that it is, he will build it, but he's saying it's Springfield, so I think he needs to put money where it's not. He's saying, so we gotta let him spend his money first. Yeah.
My only concern is,
And the committee, the other.
my only concern is he's not the town's agent. He's not the town's agent. We don't have anything moving out for our meetings. We're just accepting his information.
But when he comes back with it, just say because he did what I just said, he came back with a plan, was stamped on, had this criteria, and if it really wanted, then we could give it to AES and say, is this,
Yes, we'll still be.
So I guess the question is how do we get the criteria that we want over and above code, if you will, so that they. I'm sorry?
He's already
so you get online and find out this. Go to the police stations, what's required, and then with holding cells, with court, with Sally ports. I mean, any of us can get online and find that.
What I'm hearing from him is he's done that. He has met with our police chief. Supposedly, he's met everything our police chief wants, but I have not seen the specification. All I see from him are general patients. Show us that and get it to us within the next week.
That's what I'm saying.
I mean,
Well, I mean, I'm just saying, I can't see spending taxpayer money. Let him come back with. Well, maybe, if it meets code, we got a code doctor upstairs, that's what he does.
It's not just code, that's the thing, it's not just code, and that's the difference between code and different recommendations that Dave Burrows, the code enforcement officer, unless he wants to educate himself on those recommendations, for a police department, he wouldn't know, and so, I mean, I guess, I understand what you're saying, I'm just trying to figure out how we get the information of our specifications, what we want to see, to upstate management, so they know to put it in there. That's what AES has got. That's what they're
You're
doing.
not gonna need it, so I'm not gonna, I'm saying any engineer. I'm saying if we could get online and do a search for police stations, requirements for websites. I'm sure Merkel building. We got the plans to give. You guys have got it. Yeah, is it stated in here? Anything about?
The only thing you're doing is so list of equipment, and, you know, what you can put in for toilets and, you know, I think, that's what we got so far. No, there's nothing about,
That's what. Kind of be selling, we want to know.
There, give it. And if you can, okay.
If they're vacuum toilets, or they're, you know.
But that's fine, but the town still needs an agent. For these kind of best interests.
Well, we do have,
We can understand everything.
initially, I think we should look at it. We have people on the committee who are well.
If you get Chris Nancy, Mike, you, me, Phil, you've been built in the, I mean, I think we're all. Figure that out.
Then I think we get that as well. But let's put him on a point to give us what we. He's been real good at dictating to us. We pay for this, we're gonna pay for that.
so who is gonna come up with that list of items? That's my question. So who's going to physically come up?
So let's make him put it up.
I'm not sure that's comparable.
See, we can spend.
Keep saying he does.
I mean, we can sit down for you guys, the committee and stuff right before. Does it need special kind of sheet rock? Does it need 6-inch studs? Does it need metal studs? Does it need, what kind of ceiling insulation between it, toilets, sinks, knockoff sinks? Because I mean, if prison is in there, you have to sink up and it, you know, you have the breakaway sinks.
Yeah.
There's,
Well, if upstate professional can give us an information. And we look at it. Something, look at it to ensure that it's in the town's best interests. But he's gonna have to come up with all that.
He's gotta come up with it.
if we came up with that, I mean, Greg, AES is gonna start from scratch. They're gonna do just what we said, and it's gonna take a lot of time. But if this guy does all the legwork and comes back with a specific list, what he's gonna use, like we just discussed,
Yeah.
and then I'm sure, I mean, we gotta pay AES to look it over, but I don't think it would be as bad as much as it would, if they did the whole thing.
I think he needs to do something on his job so far.
We can try that, and I guess see how far it gets. Something obviously, if we don't get what we need and we have to go back to AES, it's time. That's the only thing it would cost us, is time. Maybe
But, you know, they said it here, you just said 6 feet.
for them.
Yeah, for AES. So, I mean, we gotta hold it.
Well, I think it's fine, but that doesn't produce anything. We still start on the,
Right.
we still.
Yeah, if he comes back, then he doesn't give us what we think we need,
I
and
think either Jack, he's pretty.
The other part of the equation is the town's ability to get out of this. That's any point we desire.
See, all of this might be in vain anyway, because I think it all comes down to that. First thing. If we want, if we need to leave.
If you really think of what you want to do with the building, you kind of treat it like we, right, applicant comes in with a plan, the application, buildings in, or town engineer reviews them, gives comments back, the concepts. You could, and to your point, to the town, it's really the landlord's risk, which is time, that they've been pushing you. So you think that if that's the way they want to do it, you can do it. One thing you say is that because the point somebody made about engineer doesn't work for the town. Those plans and specs would have to be certified to the town if anything ever went. We would require them to be part of the engineer certified. They're no different than a base engineer with its stamp on that carrying liability.
Yeah.
Contract.
So it's some people paying an engineering will do on behalf of the town.
And you
What
want
do you mean? If he gets us a set of stamped drawings through an engineer,
their liability.
right? Yeah,
The person who's the owner, the developer, that's on the stamp line, who they're fully paid, that's the liability. No implied warranty, and right? Give me that one.
so I mean, if anything happened in the future, they wouldn't be liable, not us, not us. So what's, no problem. No, they, I mean, if something happened, they would be liable if the building was faulty or something happened or.
Right, you want the engineer to you.
Right. I think you could say.
I don't know.
Getting out of the lease when we're gonna get out of the lease. Necessarily that we want to lease for 30 years. What if we only want to lease for an interim period so that there's a time, get them out of that, right now, and go with it.
Or if you set it up like I said, it 5 year things, I can pay it out in 5 years. I took it for 5 years, 5 years, 5 years, 5 years. Why can't you do that?
Well, I'm not even one to put in.
No, I mean,
Yeah.
but I mean, 5 year lease, if they don't agree, we don't do it.
So, I think
That's
there's,
us, we said that.
I think there's a lot of those issues like that that need to be gone through. And honestly, I think we could sit here tonight and have this discussion for 2 hours about all the little details we may or may not want in the lease agreement. And I think those discussions probably need to take place in executive session. So if you want to.
You can kind of lease term, you could allow them to go ahead and specs, get back to you, and we don't think that's aggressive. If they do well, and you want to have a yes review at that point, say, hey, here's things that they, because to the point that the county, what you're saying is, the landlord is going to build the quickest and cheapest, I don't mean cheapest in terms of bad quality. So, their incentive is to get it done as quickly and within a budget as that may not necessarily be your intent. Your intent is to whatever you need to do.
One thing I thought, if they did do it, they put a construction company in, they should get paid, have a clerk of the works. We should pick a clerk of the works to put in there to make sure it's done as per spec, as per code.
Those are all things that they release.
And let them pay the clerk of the work.
Well, my point was,
Because unless you're on the job, they can do anything they want.
have a meeting, the just before, hammer, all the things you want and get in, and then they give you a set of plans, and you give them the lease. Then you say, this is what we want, and this is what we're looking at. And then you're not on the same page of what needs to be done. This is the problem. And you're not on the same page. Huge negotiating. All can be dealt. To your point, you can do it all. You've got, now you're comparing apples and apples. Right now you're saying, okay, here's what we're gonna get, and here's what's gonna cost us, and here's the benefit. And we will build our own. Here's what it's gonna cost us, and here's that.
Which gets me to the next piece of the puzzle is, do we want to move forward with the study to get a design, a new build and accurate costing on that? Because it's either we don't, and then if we don't reach an agreement with Upstate, well, then we're starting back and having to start over again on
Another month, so just. You know,
I guess my question is, that if we're using one to measure against the other, to try to evaluate what's the best way forward, you can't do that unless we have accurate numbers on the new. That's my deal. So if we're gonna evaluate the cost benefit to leasing the building to the specifications that we want compared to owning our own building, the only way to do that is to know what it's gonna cost us to build a new building.
What we're looking at is how they, this part, then,
Yeah,
but this part, I'm gonna do fuse station.
it's 20,
He doesn't come into that.
he doesn't,
Into that.
right, not hard.
So, I suppose we can wait 30 days to see what material ends up with this. Would be 30 big lots of it that ends up being a non-starter. We've done, I'm big. What did you do?
24th?
I think so, but.
well, we could just let them tell them that we want the 24th.
Yeah. I guess the question is, even if we get that, without knowing what it's gonna cost to build and how we finance this building, we have nothing to compare it to. That's my question.
All we know what it's gonna cost us for 30 years, 10 years, whatever we decide. We know what it's gonna cost the town. I mean, it's pretty simple to figure out how much it's gonna cost. You can't, any contractor to build a new.
Well, not without having specifications for them to build it to.
Yeah, and a new structure, I mean, I guarantee you, I've been in it enough to know that it would be a hell of a lot.
What about, I know there's a price per square foot, but factoring in some of the specifics of this building. It's not just a normal building, right?
But
So it would have to figure the price per square foot, taking into
we're gonna
account
have all of
bigger walls.
That's to lease the building, not to build it. I guess my concern is that the whole process, which we can go any way that we think we want to go. I just want to make sure that everybody is clear about we go down the lease deal, and of course, it's not approved, well, then we're back to looking at a new build if we can't reach an agreement with them for whatever reason. And we've lost some time. And then if we're looking to use a comparison, the only way to compare, because I can tell you, if you go price per square foot, $4,500 square foot to build it, it's gonna be a range, right? It's gonna be a range between $550 and $650, right? Because it's gonna be a range. Well, I'm telling you, if that $100 per square foot is $1 million, right? I mean, it's a lot, right? It's a $500,000 to $1 million price range difference. So without being able to narrow that down, that range to me, because $1 million difference in the cost of a building, high end, that's one thing. If you're on the low end, that's a different thing. So having a range of that, which is always heard here, is between $550 and $750 a square foot. We need to kind of narrow that a little bit so we are dealing with something more accurate.
We've gone over this lease versus building maintenance. We need to go back on the tax roll, half of the building will go back on the tax roll. That's a plus. If we build a new, then we gotta maintain it for 30 years. If we lease it, they will maintain it for 30 years. We know exactly what it's gonna cost us for 30 years.
They're not, yeah, well, that would all be part of the lease.
That's the same with the.
So,
But at the end of the day, Dave, you also have a 30-year-old lease that's up and no place to go if you aren't staying there in a 60-year-old building.
I don't want to get into the lease. I want to get into the building part of it. I want there to lead there.
so then what we're looking at is how they provide the specs. And then us either giving them specs for the second part, giving those specs to AES to review or some other engineering to review. Either way, you're paying some time for this. $5,000 to get, you know, as he was saying, apples to apples. And
Well, let me go back to that.
that's the first step.
And then if we can get it together before the meeting, at least when we leave that meeting, we'll have an idea. I just can't see spending.
If we want to wait then, doing anything to the new build schematic, if we hear something back from, is that what I'm hearing?
We let him put his money
That part I get that. The question is do we want to cease, do we also proceed with trying to get a solid cost estimate on a new build to be able to compare it to the renovation cost?
I would say, yeah.
Get the specs from that.
Anything else? It may be the 25,000 set it this way, it may be less if you have something just specs.
Well, there's two different sets of specs now. One's a new build and one's a renovation. Theoretically.
You want Aaron to give you guys a quote for reviewing what comes in, and or at least be prepared to give you one. And then if it comes in, you don't get what you want, at least you guys make it solid. I can learn.
So I guess from that perspective, we need to reach out to upstate management and tell them what we're looking for from them and the details and what they're going to include, because right now they said that, you know, anything that we want to do over and above what they've already included, it's going to be a change. And what we're asking them to do now is include things that we want that's not in their existing scope. Right?
Itemized.
If that's what the chief wants, you should be able to give us those specifications.
I like we should be a square foot price, I mean, I'd like to.
Discuss it. I think we already spectrum is about
Anything.
Yeah, he's put in there, anything we want, he's given us a price, at least, to put the building into code. Anything we want, in addition to that, we want soundproof interrogation rooms or, you know, a remote flush toilet, or whatever we may want. In addition to that, he would do, right now, he said $125 an hour, right here. That's what he says. So,
Now you're willing to pay him to give us the information? No. Well, that's what I'm saying.
yeah, well, what he's saying is it would come to perform those activities during the construction phase. Construction, right. So the question is, do we want to ask you to include those in his scope of work and increase the rent? Exactly. That's right, exactly. Yeah. So we're asking him to come back to us with ideas from Adam, requested for us to include things like insulating or soundproofing rooms and whatever these items might be.
I think it's hard to go.
He had, well, it's not,
I don't see any, and I'm not seeing any incidents.
all he said was he was gonna build it to code, and anything in addition to that would be to our expense. That's what's on the table.
Well, I think Adam will over what you want. The entrance, bulletproof glass for.
So there's a lot of items that you can see on those recommendations from the stuff. There's a lot of items in those things, and that's what we need to zero in on, what we want them to provide.
And give us this. So we can do that, everything was we are taking the candidate.
Okay.
Any more on this?
No. So, couple of other quick items here. So I owe a couple of things out. I owe buildings and grounds, the primary report I was supposed to send out, and I haven't. I think you've received that yet, right? You, which is the list of all the items. I have to send it out. I haven't done it. That's my bad. And highway department, that's been out and given to everybody, so that's off our agenda at this point in time. There was no other new business, and our next meeting is scheduled for April 24th at 6:30 at night, and the meeting is adjourned at 19:09.
We met on the 28th Public, Steve Miller is here asking for a speed trailer to be placed in Alexandria. Chief Hubbard stated that his trailer is still in storage for the winter months, and as soon as the roads are clear, he will be bringing it out. Chief Hubbard goes over his monthly reports, which I'll read in a minute, and goes to department the same in their monthly reports. Tanya came down and asked if the nighttime officers could make a list of all the streetlights that were out, so she could report them. And I said, yeah, you could. Supervisor Wright asked if the Airbnb on the Chilton has 2 cabins and if only one of them has a CO. Brianna Peters states that it was just brought to their attention the other day. Supervisor Wright asked if they could get together with the town assessors. The meeting was adjourned, and the next meeting is April 25th. The monthly reports, they had 363 calls, service incident reports 37, arrests 25, uniform traffic tickets 10, DWI 1, and accidents investigated 4. And he wanted to remind everybody that winter parking is still in effect. No, okay, but this is what he said that day. So the speed trailer is going to be taken out of service. Officer Rod Hudwick has been promoted to the position of sergeant. His promotion took effect on March 10, 2023. Ticonderoga Police Department hired a new full-time officer. Scott Cook was sworn in on March 20th, 2023, and will be attending the Zone 2 Police Academy on May 1st.
Oh, should you work in the meantime?
Yeah. Yes, he's working 6 to 2.
Now, one of the academy, I guess I don't understand how that works.
He can't make the invest. He's doing the paperwork and stuff.
They can't work alone, it's
No, he can't work alone, and he can't actually, I guess he can't even shoot anything.
You haven't given them the.
Hey, yes, he does. He got. He's okay.
Okay, carry on.
Okay. Okay, Codes Department building, they had 5 building permits, 6 safety inspections, 2 orders to remedy. They had 2 complaints, no trainings, and so they've got 2 resolutions. Resolution to accept the resignation of Rob Budwick as Doctor Control Officer effective 3/23/2023.
I'll move it.
Second. Go ahead, Joyce.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, carried.
Resolution to advertise for Dog Control Officer position.
I'll move it.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, carried.
And resolution authorizing Chief Hubbard and Jennifer Kendrick to attend a virtual training class on managing police records for the Ticonderoga Police Department at a cost of $259.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed, carried. What you got?
Yep.
All right, Public Works. Minutes from March 20th meeting are attached, especially for water plant. I did put up all the fact sheet on the website, the town clerk and the water codes. Some facts on the water control plant. They have a discussion on water meters. I think so we need to have a discussion on the water meter style and the setup height. The Public Works Commission is recommending the ultrasonic water meter type system with a drive-by data collection system. The drive-by is the mid, it's about a minute.
Which can be upgraded, by the way.
Yeah.
So that in the future, if we wanted to put in, what do you call them, Greg? Transponders? Not transponders. Receivers that would be able to live time send a signal from each and every water meter back to a central location, right? That could be done at some point in the future.
So the ones that they're picking, will that, like if I had a water leak, would that show it?
Yep.
Maybe the one, if the, you have to have an automatic download, get it instantly, but if Derek puts the receiver in his truck and probably would do that, drive around every day, you'd probably find out at least every couple of days, maybe every couple of weeks, but.
The meter is very accurate. It's just how we retrieve the data from the meter. So if you do it with a drive-by, you're not getting it downloaded like every 10 minutes or whatever they do. It's going to be only when you're not
have a meter leak.
That is one of the benefits of the remote read system or other system. So you do lose some of that benefit by you get it, you just don't get it instantly.
Like when you sit down instantly, would it be like within a day?
only when you go by.
You'd have to
You
drive.
have to drive by it to find it. And
You could go on for everything.
well, until you go by it. I mean, theoretically, they gotta drive by every house at least once a month in order to be able to get the meter readings for billing. That would be the minimum you drive by. Yep,
Zero windows.
yep.
What I'd like to do is settle on the ultrasonic and the drive-by so that we can move forward to the next step of this fund project. Money for it.
I think it's the way to go, certainly since it's upgradable, and right now the cost to put in the receivers and that kind of stuff is pretty high. So I think, it appears that we may be difficult to find funding for this, so we may have to kind of do it as a fluent loan or something, so it's going to be costly, so we need to keep our costs down, but the next system down, in my opinion, is not as accurate.
Yeah.
It's a little bit more difficult to deal with, so this is, I think, a happy medium to do this, and you could always upgrade at a later date. And
If you-
yeah,
if it isn't. So then I would move a resolution directing AES to proceed to the decision, use ultrasonic water meters in the drive-by, that's the style of water meter and set respectively, planning purposes. I'll move that. Yes, we have a discussion. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Carried. And that's all I have for public works.
I have a question for Greg. So, now that we know what water meters are small, if I was to go get one of that style, you tell me what I need, put it in a restaurant down there, do you want to use that as a test sample? You want to buy it, put it in, you'd rather do it now as opposed to doing it later.
You still won't know the brand or the kind of skating.
Okay, it's just the style, we have to do the brand yet.
No. So, maybe the best case scenario is these small piece.
Well, there is a spool piece in there for that, but, okay, fair enough.
Works. Resolutions correct billing account of 173, the village put 2 EDU water, 2 EDU sewer, as is listed in the two-family buildings on the tax bill.
Second.
In favor?
You know, a lot of these resolutions coming up, you guys want to do the first one and then Joyce? We say here,
Okay, speak for yourself.
Almost carried. Correct the billing account for 171, but the 2 EDU water, 2 EDU sewer, as is listed as a single family with a minimum impact on the tax bill.
I'll second it.
In favor? Thank you. Opposed? Carried. Resolution to accept the resignation of Michael Bennett effective April 7, 2023.
Second.
In favor? Resolution to advertise for full-time water, wastewater maintenance equipment. That's an hour.
Second.
Position.
Yes. All in favor? Carried. Resolution authorizing the supervisor, okay, these next three, these are all related to updating procedure for the upcoming funding projects, the associated water projects, water sewer. First one, resolution authorizing the supervisor to update the New York State Environmental Quality Review Act, seeker, to ensure that potential projects funded by the bipartisan infrastructure law bill package are in compliance. Seeker update includes all possible projects to be included in the funding package to ensure that seeker is following segment projects.
Second.
Taking further,
Are you gonna do, all three together? You doing it?
sorry. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. The next one is, these are all part of the process that we have to go through, sending different documentation. A resolution to declare the town of Ticonderoga is initiating the seeker process for the review of the proposed improvements to both collection system and wastewater pollution control plant projects, and to request the town to act as the lead agency.
I'll move it.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. And a resolution authorizing the submittal of a letter of intent, full environmental assessment form, part 1, project and setting for the town of Ticonderoga wastewater pollution control plant and collection system upgrades and repairs.
I'll move it.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Carried. A resolution to send Derek Fleury, Eric Blanchard, and Cole Russell to the New York Rural Water Association Annual Conference, Lake Placid, May 22 to 24, 2023. For continuing education credits, conference cost per person is $340. Room costs are $516. Total cost is $1,556 for reimbursement cost for dinners and lunch.
I'll move that.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
I just have like one thing for you to move on. The RFQ for engineering for sewer, do you want it, or do you need to do a board resolution for that, or is that
For what?
the RFQ, going to RFQ for engineering for the same sewer project?
Authorize the supervisor to do RFQ. Roger.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
that one.
Okay. Yeah. You guys just do it and over it is.
But, yeah, how we get the projects through, we have to send out our quality about engineering. For water to ground, so important to do, one in the county is working. It's still by the RFQ rating, you know, whether it's a supervisor who's decent. So we have, and we'll set a date, we'll get, and we will. We can score them.
So that is the resolution in importance.
It's a, we're not,
Yeah.
okay, I'll move
Second on that.
I'll second.
This passing on that. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Only have a couple of words with resolutions. So moving to human services union.
So, the meeting yesterday. We didn't have a meeting on Tuesday, we did not have a board. But we did have discussion about the considerations for the summer program and also what will be happening with the lifeguards too. So I'm just hoping that we'll get the last 3 people to reply so that it's a program. But Sean has done a great job of figuring out what that we can do instead, because he had last year under his belt. He's hoping that we can expand it to 3 hours, make it a 4-hour program 5 days a week. And we had some pretty good candidates yesterday. The unfortunate thing, or Tuesday, unfortunately, they several of them were under 16, so they could not come to some Other than that, we're going ahead and the cutoff date is the 24th. If we don't have 10 16-year-olds by the 24th, then we're going to go to what he is calling the hybrid program. And
Something.
when the people were Tuesday, they were asked if the summer program can't happen, would they also be willing to do the hundred? Yes. We're not gonna have public staffing now. So that's where we are. And I guess we have some resolutions here to make sure that the kids get fed during the break. This is a county program, I understand. It's a free program from the county. We have to hire the people to man the kitchen. Okay. Resolution to offer employment to Melinda Swinton as head cook at the amount of $22.73 an hour. And Madison Fish as a food service helper at the amount of $17.54 for the 2023 summer food program. And this would be held in the elementary school, no benefits.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Carried.
And a resolution to accept with regret the resignation of Richard Rosler from the Youth Commission effective March 2nd, 2023. He's moving to a new position. He is a pastor of the Episcopal Church, so I'm not sure when he's moving to. And was it Arkansas he was moving to, Tommy?
Georgia.
Georgia. And he's already on the way. They're on the road. He was a vibrant member of the group. Really wanted to be there for kids, and he also attended the public safety meeting, so I'm sorry he's gone.
Seniors?
I'll second. I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye. Seniors, they had no meeting in March. I expect to hear from them sometime soon about their meeting in April. But I think they're supposed to start up again in April, but I have to confirm that. So I think their regularly scheduled monthly meeting is going to start this month. If not, it'll be in May, but I'll let everybody know. In the meantime, they've been enjoying their winters.
Okay, thank you. Health insurance, just a couple of things. The quarterly meeting and the March, perhaps it's something we updates on insurance. The non-bargaining unit staff have been requesting a new general program group. This would be a cost that the Barnum firm has provided the town with a policy under that. We pay the past the requirements for people you had. Could be that as many as you need to have policy that's been updated and changed, so they have that possibility. So I would like to put a resolution out authorizing the board and the staff to obtain a dental insurance through a new group application. This is through Excellus at no cost to the town.
I'll move it.
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, so carried. I have nothing on the contract, anything cable wise, I have to just getting into it, any resolutions. This first through, so we have here, the resolution for authorizing the creation of a purchase order, RP Adams, the purchase of shell gaskets, two gaskets, that's a steel box coated in the amount of $12,177. The first 3 year are all related to the black money funds. So, any second? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Carried. Next one is a resolution authorizing the creation of a purchase order to Olds Filtration Engineering Incorporated for the purchase of filter socks in the amount of $2,250.
I'll move it.
Second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Carried. And a resolution authorizing the creation of a purchase order to Camp Precast Concrete Products for custom flood-proof hatch, 68 feet by 73 feet, with safety grades in the amount of $7,500.
Yeah, I was going to say that.
Where's that?
Yeah.
That'd be great. And that's into this. I think he's really good. That's a little hard.
She
Lost it. I meant to get him.
Over.
I'll move it.
Favor?
I did.
Favor? Carried. And a resolution to set the employee standard workday for New York State.
Second.
Exactly, you just.
So, well, for example, for elected officials, if we don't have a time card and things like that, we have to tell the state, give them a sample of what we work on, what our work days, like the number of hours we did. What else has to do that? Appointed, so, yeah.
It's just to get you in retirement, to make sure you're in retirement, what they record you as.
How many hours a day they actually think you're doing?
Yeah, yeah. Do this, that time giving. Did I get a person second?
No. Oh, yes, you did, I'm sorry, Dave and Tom.
Okay.
Sorry.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, financial, first set here is authorizing the following budget transfers, which is the fund under budget and general account and contingency. Balance after the transfer is 68, and contingency is $68,920.64. $5,686.74 for contingency, and then it's going into $7.40. Central Fed processing, $5,159.34. And garbage contractual at $500.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. The next one is to resolution authorizing the following budget adjustments to funding accounts by the water fund balance to cover increased costs and repair costs. $5.50 for water admin and telephone, and $3,016.70 for water admin contractor. So,
Outside.
okay. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. A resolution authorizing the following interfund transfers for funds from the general for the Eagle Lake Water Project in the amount of $7,160.
I'll move it.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Carried. Resolution authorizing the following interfund loans. This is to transfer funds to the airport pavement project until funding is received. That is in the amount of $12,801.01. And then to transfer funds from the general to airport apron project until funding is received in the amount of $6,101.16. Transfer funds from general to airport apron project until funding is received, $16,279.89. Go ahead, go for it. No, I didn't do it. Okay, in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, as we discussed the hearing earlier, this is a resolution to the local law, changing the date from the hearing of grievances by the Board of Assessment Review from the fourth Tuesday in May, the day beginning on the Wednesday following the fourth Tuesday of every May, and such Wednesday following the fourth Tuesday every month thereafter, the Board of Assessment Review deems necessary. The new assessor provides services to more than one community, therefore this is a necessary issue to accommodate that schedule.
Can you explain that to me? I'll move it.
Second.
A resolution to award the bid to Adirondack Concrete and Excavating for 2023 siding replacement work. I'll move that.
Second.
Okay.
Do we have what is the plan for that?
We have some priority areas first. One of those is to do that long strip outside of burn and some long strip of concrete. It's should have been done last year. Yeah, we were trying to get it done last year and and there's some other spots we have. We have no lack of
17 miles of sidewalks, and they're all just about needed. 17 miles of sidewalk.
So I move that in 2 seconds. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. A resolution proposing the passage, I sent this information to all of you, about that. So this is a resolution to oppose the passage of conservation subdivision bill, Senate Bill 04608, and corresponding Senate bill. The county has requested all the towns to issue a resolution opposing this. The bill is very restrictive. Town residents that are living in the Adirondack Park, so forward.
This is a state bill, New York State bill for Adirondack Park, it's not a local county.
Making our lives better. Okay, so did I get a first?
No.
Okay, and all in second, please.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed, carried. I want to do this next one because our pricing on our generator changed a bit. I just want to make sure the T's are crossed and that this is a resolution to modify resolution number 268, 2022, moved by myself and seconded by Dave Woods, changing the not to exceed cost from $70,000 to $71,145 for backup generator community building. This is all ARPA money. All
You move them together, so that's that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just heard yes. All right, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Accept the minutes of March 7, 2023 public hearing, the March 9th, 2023 regular town board meeting, the March 17th, 2023 water sewer workshop meeting minutes, and the March 23 finance meeting. All fair. Carried. Resolution to pay the abstracts.
Second.
Fair. Aye. Opposed, carried. Resolution to accept the supervisor's report is submitted.
Second.
Okay, in favor? Aye. Next section we need to discuss before we go through this down is, so I sent out everyone the three proposals that we were provided to financial advisors. And the financial advisor is to help us plan better for what the town can accept in terms of continued matching funds for all the different grants that we have for water projects, water projects. We want to make sure we're extending ourselves and not overburdening the taxpayers with all these projects. And grants are great, but you gotta have a match. And every match starts to add up over time. So I don't know if you've all had a chance to review the three proposals. I looked them over. They vary in costs. So one of them was for $11,200. One was for $12,500, and another one's for $18,500.
That's an annual fee?
Yeah, it's the one.
Is this from one firm?
The three. What I did is, I just did a little spreadsheet, a table, because I wanted to look at what was actually sent out to everyone in terms of what the town was looking for the specs. And then I compared to see what each of these entities did in terms of addressing those specs. So we're not necessarily looking for the lowest bidder, we're looking for the lowest possible bidder. I don't know what you guys thought when we looked through the reports, but I actually thought that Baker Tilly was the 18,500, hit all the numbers, and they were actually extremely detailed with all the information that they provided in terms of their services. Their total was also a not to exceed total. The lower bidder was an estimate, not a not to exceed total, and it was I thought it was very general in terms of the information they provided. They did not necessarily address all the issues, but The 12,500 was somewhere in the middle. They were more detailed at the bottom, one not as detailed as Baker Tilly, and didn't necessarily involve all the bells and whistles, but they did one than the other one. So, again, we can discuss, I was more towards Baker Tilly.
Is that,
It is for a year.
but I mean, if you call them like 10 times a month, would they be in it?
Yes, they all.
We tried to put together general report on more or less nuisance.
I guess, is there any concern about having them that far away? Does it really make any difference? I mean, it's not, I guess they don't really need to be here at meetings every, I guess it'd mostly be remote work.
I'm assuming that they would provide their services that you requested.
But how would they have access to
You would have to come in for a meeting, well, come in for a meeting to get the records that they need to start the meeting.
So they probably would have to meet with Becky and Sherry and whoever else they need to get over.
So they'd be here for a while and then.
Yeah, I would imagine they'd have to spend more time getting it's something electronic or physical.
Would they be able to put any insight into the evaluation of lease versus purchase? This building, I mean, if they're evaluating financial advice, it might be something that, I mean, whatever information they might need, we could give them, and then they can kind of say, well, you're better off doing this because you got a longer term, or this is better because you don't have as much money up front, but, I mean, it's an evaluation, I think, financial advisors. Yeah.
Would they start this week?
Well, that's all up to you guys.
They'll be.
Well, we already picking one and.
So it could be beneficial for us to do it.
We never discussed.
That's not something we have specifically, but the I guess the overall dollar amounts we're spending is, part of it. I don't know, and you worked with these types of companies before, is that something to do? I haven't actually.
I'm not. So.
Yeah, I don't know, it's interesting, we talked, the middle firms, or the guys that came up a couple years ago before, and just talk to them, it's interesting what pieces and parts that they do, it's not, they do a lot of municipal grants and things like that, so like they get into just different types of rate structures and things, but not all of it seems like. They get it, I think whoever like will get us a good chunk of information we need to make decisions, even if they don't give you the exact cost. Another member of the team to make decisions.
Yeah.
So you look at.
Well, my only concern about folks out on Long Island, I think the other ones are a little closer, would be their access or ability to come when they needed to, but if they're willing to travel that 5.5 hours or so, then depending on where they are on Long Island, I guess. And I'm certainly, I think it's whoever can do the most detailed job and do it the quickest right now, because we need it desperately, I think, to have this, so we really know how we can far moving forward on a lot of different projects.
Yeah, once they got all the information, I mean, if they had it, I mean, technology.
Yeah, it really shouldn't matter, you're right, and so, yeah, so I'm fine.
I don't know too much about that. I mean, they set up 5-year plans, they set up your, they do that planning.
Yeah.
They just take all your data.
It's cost only and cost of buying. Yeah.
I think it could be $18,000 well spent.
Resolution first. So, okay, so we will Baker Tilly, that we have a resolution authorizing Baker Tilly Municipal Advisors to provide professional financial advisor services at the to exceed $18,500.
Hmm.
Yeah, well, yeah. whether we continue with them every year is. But
I'll move that.
Second.
any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Carried.
Mark, are you gonna initiate conversations at this point, or do you want us to do more, kind of help and facilitate and keep it moving, but let me know.
Okay.
Water treatment testing.
And the county requesting us to do some additional wastewater treatment testing. Part of that program they have, and I was telling you that I was a little leery of it because I didn't know what their agenda was. I got approached by Linda Beers at the last county board meeting, and she said, hey, why you guys not want to do this? So I said to her, look, we don't know anything about this. We don't know what the alternative area roads are for this. She goes, yeah, I understand that they directed there. I said, if we can provide more information as to why this is a benefit to the town or the county, then we'll go from there. We'll reconsider. I sent you guys her email, you read it or not. She talked about some of the benefits of participation. One of them is, of course, there's an incentive reward if they do this. So we're not going to do it. The county. But she was talking about the goal is to establish and maintain sampling frequency. They're looking at there's a participation, educational training. This last week.
I can't remember, what are they testing for? What's the additional testing?
This is where is it? There's something here. They're testing the wastewater, but I'm going to find out what they're testing before.
I think that's for everything.
Yeah, it was COVID related. It came out of testing and COVID was transmitted through that wastewater.
Is this free?
It doesn't cost us anything. They provide all the materials.
Derek said it wouldn't take him a lot of time.
They're already using it anyway.
Right.
Positive,
If everyone's comfortable with that.
It's for hepatitis, virus, and HIV resistance.
I know there's quite a bit of,
So it's wastewater visit, basically,
I know there's,
It makes sense to me. I mean, they did a lot of that COVID testing stuff during COVID, and they found it through wastewater treatment. I mean, that was
I know some,
zero tolerance day.
I know Syracuse University is doing some participation.
Yeah. You got another maybe to punch it.
Just wanted to update you on the funding works Chilton and Eat Lake. We did hear back today, part of the EPA that deals with the direct spending that we were awarded from the fund, $4 million, and that cannot be used. You also might recall that in our March meeting, I think this is the first meeting, I think that we had a call in March with the EFC, where they awarded the town, they notified the town that we have an additional 1.3 million coming from EPA through EFC. So
That was just money.
that was just very that. if we are still sitting, going back to the original proposal of about $13.3 million, we are sitting on profit. As you sit here today, your award is over $10 million to make a project like that happen. So AES has kind of been tasked to look, kind of at some alternatives to supply drinking water to the users that need it through a connected system. Again, let's move infrastructure we can so that we can maximize all of this money. If the grant right now, the debt fee over 40 years would be $577 a user. So you can imagine if we can find $100 million or so, and then work on the O&M costs, becomes affordable. Getting into the ballpark. The difficulty with it is we feel you back and forth so many times, and you're going to feel that. But, that's a detriment to the process, right? I think it's also a benefit of the town is not stop.
Pivot when you need to pivot.
And the 1.3 million, together with the money from Patterson and Stefano, has really shifted the pendulum on what the town can do to supply the team.
What is the total between them?
It is
Be 10.3 grand.
$10.3 million.
My concern is that because we've kind of shelved that project, that going down a path of private well, we know there's several people, and I don't know how many at this point, that have drilled a well, and looking to drill a well, that would not be thrilled at this point to get in the district or forced to join a district. And so some of our district numbers might be decreasing from the 107 or 108, whatever it was, maybe it's down to 105, or who knows at this point, right? Which, when you decrease those numbers, that of course is going to increase the debt, or the proportion cost. It's going to be a tough, and we knew that from the beginning there were people who didn't want to get into a district anyways, right? That were not for it. I think it's going to be an uphill battle to try to herd those cats and get everybody to agree to do something like this. So my next question though is, if it's possible, and we could get some money or get another additional $1 million, if we needed to get some additional people in there, how big a stretch would it be to try to expand the size of the district, and at what cost would that be to expand the district size, run it like down the Pond Road, or, a lateral off the main line somewhere to try to incorporate some additional folks and increase the people. Yeah. I mean, it's just a thought. I mean, obviously if the cost is higher than the number of people, you get into that with math, but, it might be one of the ways to try and decrease the per person cost if we could expand the district without expanding a whole lot of additional money. Just a thought.
Yeah. About this one, 10 years under.
Yeah.
That $3 million that worth last month is significant gain. But to your point, you're dealing with a small number of users, so you're right, everyone drops off, the cost changes. If you're doing 1,000, that's not a significant swing. 180 to 134 certainly changes that in real dollars. And we're going to, on the other side of that, every $1 million we get in grant, because of the number of users shifts it so hard, it's better.
Yeah.
Just keep.
Well, and the other thing is, it's just going to, it's a delay in moving, we're going to kind of move down that path. Residents are going to get very frustrated about why drill, why not drill, when is this going to happen? It's just getting.
Would it still have to be a district?
Any of these.
Any of that would have to be a district.
Well, and. Okay.
That item is definitely really well, as we were again, the bigger difference, besides, well, the biggest difference I think grants is the pumping water downhill versus
You said that was huge.
No.
Municipal.
He's talking about.
Oh,
We did.
that's our next group. Yeah, but I'm working on updated cost estimates based on that.
What about rain barrels for everybody?
If you go to the trade, it's all it is.
Off the grid.
Okay, well, then I will open the public comment, if anyone wants to make a comment, you have or give each person 3 minutes, and,
He just said public comment. So a couple questions for you. Whatever happened to the original generator that was in there when we were talking about replacing?
what I understand, it's years.
Okay, so any idea why? Just curious. Anybody?
It did not work.
Okay.
They do
Okay. July 22nd, you guys had a water meeting and you talked about a variance to run water from the wells up to Abercrombie into the water. What's going on with that? And I have the document that you were in. What's going on? Yeah. Okay, it was in a document that you were talking about getting approval to run water from the wells to the Abercrombie tank. Okay, if I have to, I'll go home and get the document, I'll bring it down to you tomorrow. I want to know what's going on with that.
We had option to ensure that we could get, if the Baldwin plant failed, that we could get water from the well system to that area of town. And there was no area
To the Lake George fire. Right. Now, if Lake George was shut down and you ran that water, would you use that water from the well?
If Lake George is shut down, the only way to get water over there is to get it from the well system.
That's fine. A couple other things. I've looked at a lot of different pricing, and I remember I have a document from way back on Gooseneck where it was like $30 million or $32 million to redo Gooseneck. Involved in that was $9 million for the engineer. So that gets you down around what, 21 million? So the question I have for you, and plus going around, and I don't have any documents on the shed, but going around is they talked about trying to redo the filtration system on Lake George. And it was said that the building needed to be redone, he didn't have enough property and all this. I don't know if that's true, I'm trying to get information. So what I'm gonna say is this, and I want to understand something. So we already have Lake George functioning, and we already have people getting water, instant water. So why would we have to do a total revamp and redo, rather than just a repair to get it into compliance or modify it? I'm just asking that question before we look at 25 million to redo that, if indeed we do it.
You can only do so much to the Baldwin plant, because you can't expand it without being able to expand it on.
Why do you have to expand it if it's already doing the job?
It doesn't supply all of the town.
No, we know that. Okay, so it's supplying a portion of the town right now with what you got.
Yeah.
Okay, you don't have to expand it if you're gonna only supply the town with what you've already got. You can do a repair or modification or whatever. So are you guys actually talking about a total redo? If indeed you keep it.
Say a redo, we maintain the plant, we fix the plant as things need to be repaired and maintained. I don't know what a redo is.
Well, do you agree that it was mentioned you need more property on there? You know, that's very disrespectful.
No, I said your time. Every
Yeah.
3 minutes, you go ahead.
Okay, all right, never mind now, okay? That's very disrespectful. Okay, bottom line is this, I look at it like this, a lot of money is being wasted here. I look at the financials that I have, I look at the budget, you're wasting a lot of money. Every time you waste money, the budget goes up, people's taxes go up. I do not see anybody here that's fiscally responsible to the people of this town. Thank you.
Appreciate your comment.
That's true.
You gentlemen, have anything?
Well, I'm not alone,
You just here for the entertainment or
well,
what?
that's entertainment.
It's fine.
Well, Greg, before we go down, like you're involved in road, is there any way you could go up with that building? Maybe?
Oh, you mean increase in height?
I mean, you could probably do anything, reasonable cost from it.
I mean, you said you needed to. Yeah. Take the cheap it up there.
You don't.
How much more square footage do you need to? If land wasn't a factor,
You probably need areas for, you need different filters. So you're putting fairly heavy units in, so whatever you build would have to be pretty substantial structure.
I'm just thinking.
Yes. Yeah, that goes theoretically, but it gets expensive quickly because you're running a lot of pipe up and downstairs and whatnot, but yeah. It'd be something to look at along the line, looking at it.
What's going on with the library buildings? Did they ever get money to, remove the asbestos and infection and stuff? They had inspection done? So
That's good news.
tear it down?
You're down.
You can just put your building is getting there.
The one that's right next to facing the right.
One is right next to the other one.
Oh. Which video?
I just haven't heard any briefing. That one and this. Original. Right, that would be always have to go. Have a client.
It is long.